Hello, this is Adam at NowGamer.
And this is Paul.
And we're going to look at some of E3 2014's biggest, best games, the things that got people excited, the things that got us excited. Basically, all the games that were there were worth talking about. One of the games that did get the most excitement, I think, from a lot of gamers was Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. They had a bit of gameplay and a fancy new trailer. Now, the trailer didn't actually show off that much new. It was really just a showcase for the engine, for showing off Snake and Ocelot and all the various people and characters you're going to see in Phantom Pain. But it was pretty exciting. You know, fans get excited about MGS, and this is going to be a big one, I think. There was some details that came out. It's going to be hugely open world. Only half of it's going to be Afghanistan. But one of the things that was quite exciting to people was the revelation that you can go around Mother Base, which a lot of people who played Peace Walker will know about. But it's pretty exciting news. You'll be able to customize it. You'll be able to walk around and see some of the people. We've already seen Otacon, Ocelot, he's in there. Even Miller, I expect he'll be there. So there's a lot of kind of exciting things. You'll be able to walk around and actually see it grow. And you can collect things in the field. So things like sheep and things, resources for your army. You'll be able to collect those and send them back to Mother Base. And they'll actually have a place in the world. So it's quite an exciting, ambitious little thing. No Man's Sky was an exciting one for me, but it always is whenever I see it. I think that game looks phenomenal. The art style, the scope of it. There wasn't really anything new detailed about the game, but the new gameplay did show off some of the new worlds, dinosaurs and things like that. Everyone likes dinosaurs. But yeah, no, I just think it's a really exciting game. It's interesting that Sony's got it as a platform exclusive, at least timed exclusive, but I don't think that really matters. Everyone should be able to play it at some point. It's probably going to come to PC as well. And I just think it's an exciting game.
Yeah, there was a bit at the beginning where you walked past and you saw there was resources there, and there has been detail that you'll be able to use resources to trade to get new ships and equipment and stuff. So you can sort of upgrade your weapons and everything that you have. They did just show a little brief bit of like shooting at something in the field, suggesting that there'll be like first-person combat on the planets as well as combat flying around. So that was something a little new that was in there.
Yeah, and they did talk a little bit about how how progression is kind of designed around how you want to play it, and that for me is the biggest thing about video games. You can have a linear shooting sections and things like Call of Duty all you like, but for me, being able to go off and do whatever I want, explore or build or fight if I really wanted to, that's what's most exciting for me. And I think the fact that this is practically an infinite game, I think it says it all about it.
One of the most interesting games that Microsoft had in their little indie part of their conference was Cuphead, which is a game with a 30s animation style, like
classic Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, like classic Mickey Mouse. It's got that kind of jazz soundtrack that fits with that era and that style as well. It's a 2D platform shooter, I guess, action game. The difference with it is that it's focused on boss battles. We didn't get to see much of that in the trailer, but you can see the style's really distinctive, and it's something that looks completely different to most. I mean, we've had enough pixel art indie games probably for a while, and we can have something that looks a little different. And Cuphead does look very different, so that's interesting in and of itself.
It was a good title for Microsoft to have as well. It's very indie, it's a good little showcase for some of ID Xbox stuff. I'm a bit of a Zelda fanboy, so I did a bit of a squeal when I saw Zelda Wii U was announced. It looked fantastic. It certainly proves that the Wii U isn't quite a slouch when it comes to hardware. And they talked a little bit about what you can expect. It's an open world game, so they've taken inspiration from the likes of Skyrim. And for me, that's a big deal for Zelda. Although it's always been quite open as a series, you can always explore where you want to go. It's always been fairly strict about what you have to do next. And so if they can change all that and give you a little bit more freedom, I think that's a big deal for Zelda. And it changes the series a little bit, but not too much. There wouldn't be a Ubisoft conference without some brand new reveal at the end. Last year was Division, the year before it was Watch Dogs. This year, Rainbow Six Siege, which is basically Rainbow Six Patriots, but renamed and reskinned. But no, I thought it was quite exciting. It looked a lot like Counter-Strike. So it's 5v5 single life per round. And you have to try and either rescue the hostage or prevent the SWAT team from taking them. But there's a lot of cool little features in here. Realistic destruction, some cool little features like breaching walls and ceilings and everything like that. And gadgets like the recon drone. It was obviously quite a fake trailer. Like that gamer chat. I don't know what kind of gamer chat Ubisoft think people actually do. There are far too few swears in that to be legitimate gamer chat. But it was at least a good representation of what the game might be. And they did say it was alpha. It's probably not true. It's too polished to be alpha, but I'm excited by it.
Yeah, well, with so many games getting leaked before the conferences, it was one of the few surprises. And yeah, I thought it looked like a really interesting multiplayer team-based game. So
yeah, I'm excited to learn a little bit more because I like Counter-Strike as a game type, if you will. And I think this has that same kind of tactical edge. Rainbow Six has always had that, even in its multiplayer. So as long as Ubisoft focus on that tactical gameplay, then yeah, it should be a good one.
Far Cry 4, we already knew was coming to an extent because there had been leaks saying that the next one would be set in the Himalayas, but it was still cool to see it. And it looks like it's got some new stuff in there. We saw grappling hooks that allow you to sort of travel vertically and move around the landscape in that way, which makes sense given the mountainous setting. Elephant riding as well, we saw, which is a new thing.
Well, people talk about killing elephants as well, which is wrong. You shouldn't do it.
You should ride them and use them for war.
That's much better.
Yeah, I wasn't like blown away by it, but I really enjoyed Far Cry 3. I really like the bits where you take the enemy camps. That was always a cool thing, and you can see that's going to be in there again. So it looked good.
Yeah, for me it was the most exciting intro to a conference. All the others had fairly interesting games, but I think it was only Far Cry 4 that managed to actually draw me into what was happening. And it's in a similar sense to Far Cry 3's Insanity section. I like the look of this dynamic between who is obviously the bad guy and your main playable character. I think it's going to be quite an interesting one, at least in the sense of a story. So yeah, I'm excited to play it.
We didn't completely fuck it up. Get up, boy.
A remake of Grim Fandango was announced for PS4 and PS Vita.
I don't think anyone was expecting that one, to be honest.
No one was expecting that one. I've seen some people on Reddit and stuff asking what Grim Fandango is. So at the risk of patronising people, it's a very popular point and click. Well, I say popular, it didn't sell very well, but it's a very well-renowned point and click. Sort of came towards the end of that when point and clicks were struggling and they were sort of dying out. But from Tim Schafer and Double Fine, it's a really great game, so it was cool to see it coming on PS4 and PS Vita, and yeah, I think I'll look forward to playing it on Vita in particular.
Well, it's good for me because I never actually played it originally. I think a lot of people will be the same as you say, it didn't sell a lot. So I think it's, while surprising and perhaps unnecessary, I think it's a good move to get a HD remake of this one.
That's Tim Mulligan and Schafer.
Blood-Borne for me was by far the most exciting reveal of E3. We kind of knew what it was. We didn't know the name, although Sony had trademarked it a while back. We didn't know that this was going to be the name of the game, but it's basically Demon's Souls 2. I prefer Demon's Souls to Dark Souls. The guy who made the original Dark Souls and Demon's Souls is in charge of this one, so it's very exciting. I like the gothic look of it. I think it's not quite as rigidly medieval as the series has been. I think it's taken a new direction in terms of art style, and I think that's good for the series. A lot of people have been complaining about that, but I think it's good to do things differently. We don't really know much about it. It was a CGI trailer, but I think it looks pretty cool, pretty exciting. Certainly can be a system seller. I think a lot of people are excited about this one.
So Battlefield Hardline, this is another one that we pretty much knew everything about it before the conference. So
yeah, there was so many leaks before E3. It was kind of hard to keep this one too exciting. It would have been exciting if it had been a brand new announcement, I think.
Yeah, but still, it's basically Battlefield, but with cops and robbers. It's a cool little twist on the series, I think. I mean, it still seems to be based around the core tactical team-based gameplay. You know, working as a team has always been important in Battlefield, more so than in some other shooters. So, you know, hopefully that'll prove to be the case in Hardline. They announced that you could play the beta now during the conference, which is
Sony announced that, and it was quite funny as well because it shut down Origin and PSN at the same time. So obviously there's a lot of people interested in it, and I've only just had access to the beta, so I'll be playing that shortly. But I was kind of hoping for a little bit more Payday 2 in there. You know, I like the heist missions in that game, and it doesn't look to be quite the same as that. But I think it's a good twist. I think it's important for the series to have a kind of spin-off. And they're obviously not going to do Bad Company anymore, so Hardline is probably our best bet.
It's a f***ing video game.
Although we kind of already knew about Sunset Overdrive, and they didn't really show anything new at E3, I am still excited about it. Whenever I see it, I'm just reminded about how cool it looks, about how exciting it can be. It's very reminiscent of Jet Set Radio, and that's one of my favourite games ever. And so Microsoft taking Insomniac, who make brilliant games anyway, and then attaching that kind of gameplay to it, for me is going to be a big system sell. And it's just so colourful, you know. I'm sick of seeing brown and greys and all those horrible colours that video games don't have to be. Like the saturation, the attitude it's got. I think it's going to be an exciting game, and I think people should be looking forward to this one.
GTA 5 was expected to show up on PS4 and Xbox One at some point, but we finally got an announcement that is happening, and Rockstar are going to bring it to those consoles.
Yeah, it was a kind of exciting announcement for Sony to have, although they never actually went into much detail about it. They did have the trailer, and it kind of gives that PR spin that they've got a good relationship with Rockstar, and that kind of appeals to most gamers. They see these things happening and they think that it's somehow exclusive. But the trailer looked impressive. I mean, quite often these next-gen HD remakes, you can't tell the difference, but things like denser traffic and new wildlife, it might seem irrelevant and mundane, but to me it all adds to the world, and Los Santos was quite an interesting, rich world, I felt.
Star Wars Battlefront 3 is one that people have been excited about. We didn't really get to see the game itself, so it's obviously still a long way away. We got to see some images of people working on the game.
Some people said they like Star Wars.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So there's a lot of other people. Thank you for that. But the in-engine footage for me was very exciting. I think, although it probably won't look quite as nice, although you'd like to think it will on next-gen consoles, it kind of shows the excitement of what a Battlefront game should be, and the fact they're even working on it says a lot for me. We were surprised by how many people we asked when we asked what their games of E3 was when they said Mortal Kombat X. It's not that it's not an exciting game, but just
people get their faces ripped off.
Yeah, well, they do.
Easy to please.
I guess that's all you really need. A little bit of gratuitous violence. But I do think this looks like a lot of fun. Certainly looks like it's not trying to be a serious fighter quite so much, a little bit more injustice than say Street Fighter, or I don't know what serious fighting games are. But I like fun fighting games. I like things like Tekken and Mortal Kombat. I even enjoyed Injustice. So I think this one looks cool. I think it's taking what the series does well, which is a lot of blood and gore, and adding a few extra things to it. And we saw first PS4 footage.
There was you could take items from the environment like in the background and use them against your enemies.
Yeah. And there's some new characters, but no one cares. They're just going to play Scorpion or Sub-Zero anyway, so what does it matter? But it's still going to be a good game, I think. And I think for fighting game fans, there's probably a lot to look forward to here. And that's it, really. That's kind of all we got most excited about for over the E3. There was a lot more games, obviously. Things like Splatoon and Shadow of Mordor and Captain Toad, things like that. But these are probably the ones that we're most excited about. No doubt you'll disagree and tell us in the comments how wrong we are and how much you hate us, but that's all well and good. We love you for it, really.